give the devil its due. Gattis had a balanced game plan for Brown, but Rooster and Cam are my players of the game. Yeah, I was looking online, and some people were still complaining about Gattis' play calling, but other people were giving his props. And even watching the game, I was like, yeah, it looks really balanced, and we really played to our strengths. Where it was, all right, let's see if we can push these guys around, and if we can, we're just going to run it down their throats. And that's exactly what we did. The offensive line looked good. We were able to just push Georgia Tech around and pick up pretty much all the yardage we wanted, get into that second and third level. So that looked great too.
Yeah, well, and that's what I've been saying about Gaddis all season. He does really want to run a balanced offense. I mean, and we've seen it in games where the offense has been successful early in the year, games like this. Um, and he has a tendency, like most offensive coordinators, to really get pass happy, when you're behind. And we've definitely had a problem with the run game not working. And we saw a definite stretch of that. I think it was like a 4-game stretch from A&M on where, I mean, they were throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game at least.
I mean, the
I think
game
Van
after Middle
Dyke even had some
Tennessee.
at 50.
Yeah, I mean, after the Middle Tennessee game, Tyler threw for almost 500 yards.
Yeah, North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one too where I think, and it shows Gattis is game planning who he's going against, because that was a North Carolina game, and their secondary is by far the weakest part of what's an atrocious defense. And I mean, Gattis game planned it perfectly, and Tyler was able to throw for 500 yards, a few touchdowns. I mean, they came up a little short, but I mean, Gattis just keeps kind of proving why I say we need to keep him around. And this is something else that got pointed out on some other Miami channels. I think a lot more people are starting to see it too. Not just his balanced offense, but the lack of execution from some players, the lack of effort from some players. And I mean, that can kill a drive completely. That'll stall out it can. I mean, if you have one offensive lineman that's, in a mood with the coaching staff and, not bought in, not giving effort, one offensive lineman can shut down your whole offense.
Yeah, and I think we saw it last week against Florida State where, like being in the stadium, you saw, like I could see in person the energy the guys had to start the game. And it seemed like we'd gotten a 3-and-out to start the game, but then what happens? You get a pass interference penalty and it doesn't go your way, and you got to stay on the field. And it's kind of crazy, but it just seemed like they gave up after that first drive. It's like, okay, you didn't get a 3-and-out to start the game, but it's still early, man. Like, come on. Like, it doesn't have to be a 3-and-out every time, but still, like, at least give the effort and try to get the stop. And it just seemed like they didn't.
Yeah, and that goes to the mental toughness aspect that Mario keeps preaching that's got to be built. Not just the physical toughness, but the mental as well.
Yeah, and another thing I'll really say is it seems like with Josh Gattis, Ja'Cory Brown is really the quarterback that fits his system really well. Like, it seemed like he was really comfortable with the plays he was calling with Ja'Cory there. And it seemed like the whole team fed off the energy that Ja'Cory brought because, like we always say, the backup quarterback is everybody's favorite player on the team. And whenever a backup comes in, there's always a little spark that's lit, at least a little bit. And it seemed like that spark was there to start the game, and it carried through the whole way.
Well, I don't know if it's, and I mean, you may be right, but here's just another perspective on it. Maybe it just works better with Ja'Cory with how bad the offensive line is, because he's obviously the most mobile quarterback we have, without a shadow of a doubt. So he can get away from and kind of mask some of the problems with the offensive line until they've got it better.
Yeah, I mean, there was the 23-yard completion he had to Frank Ladson where it seemed, if that's Tyler or Jake back there, that's probably like a sack, or maybe like they're able to throw the ball away. But he was able to run around, buy himself some time, and then Frank Ladson got open and he delivered a strike for a first down. That's just something that those other two guys, they have their own talents, but that's something that they just don't have that they can do. And Ja'Cory was able to do that.